Yeah, because what Zoe does is she has a tutoring service, and she's, like she said earlier, has been doing this well before the pandemic. So, we're going to talk about the a couple different things that you're passionate about, and one that I want to start with for sure is goal setting with your kids. So let's go ahead and just start there. I'm a goal setter myself, and I would love to start implementing this in my kids' life, but I'm not really great at doing it yet. So let's start there.
Yeah, so I am also a goal setter, and especially like personal life, business life, have always set goals. And then I started to realize that this is something that could be life changing for kids too. So, we talk a lot about growth mindset in the parenting and education world, getting kids to where they feel like they can work hard at something and fail and continue to work hard at it until they get it right. And I think goal setting is kind of the great window into that. So, goal setting with your kids can help them kind of feel like they have control over something, right? Because so much of childhood is like not having control because everybody's telling you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, giving them a little piece of that control and helping them to learn how to decide what they want and then make the steps to get there can be really life changing for them, especially academically. So, deciding kind of what they want to achieve and then deciding how they're going to get there can be something that once you do it with them a few times, they learn how to do it on their own and it becomes how they think about school.
I think I started bringing this up like maybe a month ago with my kids. I was like, "What are your goals for the year? Like, what do you really want to do this year?" And it was super casual, and I forget what they said at first, but then it led to like, "I want to go camping this summer." Okay, that was their goal. And then I kind of like was like, that's awesome. Like, I think that's a great family goal to put that on our list of things we want to do. Well, let's go camping. I'll stay at home and you and dad and the other boys go camping. No, but then I wanted to get down to the nitty gritty of it. Like, I wanted to see him, I'm talking about my 8-year old, really think of some things he wanted to accomplish that he could be proud of. But I didn't know how to facilitate that. So can you give us some ways that we could help facilitate so that we're not like saying you should want to do this or whatever?
Yeah. So, and I love how you just mentioned you don't want to be like, you should do this, right? Because the big first thing that I tell parents, and I did a video about this, we were talking about it, of like mistakes you make when you're goal setting with your kids, is don't make it about what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it about what they want. And that can be kind of hard because maybe they've never really thought about what they want before because they are so busy thinking about what their parents want and what their teachers want, what their friends want. So, especially if they're a kid like me, I was a very people pleasery
Mm.
type of kid. Um, so it's usually good when you're first teaching your kids how to set goals is to actually like sit down with them with a piece of paper and do some brainstorming. So maybe if you're, I'm just going to focus on academic goals for the sake of the conversation.
Sure.
So if you're looking at grades and you're like, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish at school this quarter? And maybe they say like, I want to learn better math. And so they're kind of brainstorming through some things that they want to accomplish. Then, as the parent, it's good, or like the next thing you need to do is help them kind of tease out what exactly they want. So, like saying, I want to get better at math, you say, like, what does that mean? Like, how
Mm.
will you know when you're better at math? And that might lead to them saying, well, I want to get a better grade in math. And so something that is like measurable is what you're trying to pull out.
Okay.
Or like if they were like, I want to get better at soccer, say like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do you want to get better at? And if it's, like, I want to be able to score more goals or, something usually comes out that's a little bit more measurable. And as the parent, because you're kind of acting as a coach, right? Because you're again trying not to impose your own will on your child.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to help them kind of pick out something that's going to be a stretch for them, but that's attainable, and then also something that they can measure. And so I always tell parents to kind of focus on that whole SMART goal thing,
Mm.
where it's measurable and actionable and timely. Um, and once they pick out what they want to do, um, or accomplish, then you can kind of help them write down that goal and then think through the action steps that they need to get there. So for like the kid who wants to improve their math grade, they may say, well, I don't turn in my math homework all the time. So maybe one of those things is I need to make sure I turn in my math homework every day. Or, I need to study for 30 minutes twice a week so that I can do well on my tests. This is where when I'm setting goals with kids, I make more suggestions. So, like during that brainstorming period of time, you're just kind of listening, but then the action steps, sometimes kids need
Mm-hmm.
help kind of pulling those out. Um, or even just thinking about like, why do I have a bad grade in math? Um, and then from there, so you have that goal set, you have those action steps set. That's not where you leave it, right? So your child has made this goal, then you need to check back in with them. So checking back in with them frequently and making it not like a nagging conversation, um, where you're like, well, how's your math grade? But just, how do you feel like you're doing on your goal? What do you feel like you did really well this week? What do you feel like you could improve next week to make sure you get to where you're wanting to go by the end of the quarter? And kind of like making them feel like you're on their side, but that they're also kind of accountable to somebody, can be really helpful. And you can do this in like a very small way. So you could do it for like a 2 week period of time,
Mm.
to start out with. Or if you feel like your child can handle it, you could do it for a whole quarter. But just kind of practicing it is probably the best way to help your child learn how to set those goals.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the best approach as far as like how I approach it with my 8-year-old specifically. He gets very like, I don't know, he doesn't want to like talk about anything serious, or he's like, why do you keep saying that? And one of the tips I saw you had was like mark it on your calendar. So like Wednesday at 4, I know I'm going to
Mhm.
talk to him about this. And I wonder if it's and to hold myself accountable as well. I wonder if it's the kind of thing where like I I need it on my calendar. I need to know on Wednesdays or every other Wednesday, you know, an hour after he gets home from school so he's not bombarded, something like that, that I am going to kind of like casually bring it up and not, sit down and make it this business meeting, because I think when I try to do that, he thinks like, what's going on here? So it's like I need to be the scheduled organized person and hold myself accountable, but then make it more casual for him.
Yeah, and it totally depends on what kind of kid you have.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
some kids want to know that that conversation is coming,
Yeah.
so that they don't get caught off guard by
Yeah.
it. And then some other kids maybe don't need to know when that conversation is coming, and maybe it comes when they're sitting down and eating their snack and you're just kind of chatting.
Yeah.
I totally agree. But like kind of having that in your calendar will at least remind you like, okay, I need to do this. And especially if it's something that maybe you're not looking forward to doing.
Yeah.
Um, or it's hard for you because you haven't done it before. Um, I think it's great to put it in your calendar.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those things in parenting where it's like, we both said we like to have goals ourselves. I'm not the best goal setter for myself. Like I think that I could probably come up with a better plan. But if those are the kind of things that we want to do as adults, we need to be setting our kids up for that kind of success when they're little. And because I so much are just like go play, and I'm so for that carefree childhood. But I know that I'm getting to the point, especially with my oldest two, that like these like lifelong values that I want to instill in my kids' life, like I need to kind of just have these conversations, casual or not, they need to happen if at 18, 22, 32, 42, I want my kid to continue living that way.
Oh, exactly. And it's something that you teach them, and then, like you said, it affects them for the rest of their life. And sometimes too, like it might happen naturally. Like if they're saying that they want to do something, like I wish I could do a rainbow kick for, soccer or whatever. Like jumping on that opportunity and saying, hey, like I bet you could do that. Why don't we plan it out?